Hi, I'm Andrew Jones, now with not just MoFi, but my new company in combination with my partners Jones and Cerreta. And we formed this to do some interesting new designs, give me even more challenges in life than I've already got, and to come up with something interesting and different. And this is it, the new speaker Trobadour. And you can see it retains some of the elements I'm known for, in particular a concentric driver. And although visually it looks very similar to what the MoFi driver is, it's a wholly reimagined concentric driver. It has new cone, new profile, new surround and narrow sound, because this is a dedicated mid-range and tweeter. It goes down to about 120 hertz where it crosses over to the bass. But behind there is where the magic happens, because I wanted to explore the idea of high efficiency speakers. And in fact, the first speaker I designed when I moved out here to the States 32 years ago, and yes, I'm that old, I did a 96 dB sensitivity speaker, the Infinity Prelude. But that had assisted bass, a self-powered bass section, in order to attain that efficiency level in the bass. With this, exploring the ideas of high efficiency and also in combination with tube amps, this vintage style of speaker but brought into the modern world, what could we do to further improve what I'd done in the past? And in particular with concentric driver, I knew I was going to be able to get more from it, but in what way? And we had the idea of exploring field coils. The very first speakers that were, when they were invented back in the 20s, relied on field coils to provide the magnetic field against which the voice coil reacted. That's because we didn't have permanent magnets of sufficient strength to do the job. And as time goes by, we developed anil-nickel, ferrite, neodymium, gave us possibilities with magnets, but there was always a feeling we threw something out, and with magnets you get a problem of modulation distortions due to interaction between the voice coil field and the so-called fixed field from the magnet. So I started looking, how could we develop a field coil that would work with a concentric driver? And once we settled on that, I like challenges. And once that's in my mind, yes, this is what we should be trying to do. And I started doing computer modeling of magnet circuits with a field coil, and quickly came to the realization that a simple single field coil was not going to work adequately, driving the two gaps we have, one for the tweeter, one for the mid-range. So thought, oh, what if I put a field coil within a field coil, a tweeter field coil to drive the tweeter gap, and outside of that, another field coil to drive the mid-range gap. And so I started doing the analysis. This has potential, but it took a long time and a lot of experiments and a lot of building prototypes and winding coils before I got that optimized. And this is the result of that. And in fact here, oops, this is the field coil. I'm not going to lift it any higher. I'm getting too old for this. It weighs about 37 pounds. So it's a substantial driver. And that's just mid-range and tweeter.
Wow. Wow, impressive.
All right, I'm going to put this.
It's a little heavy, huh?
So that's enabled me to bring that old technology to the forefront in a new way, and I find that very exciting. And in this cabinet, combine it with two 12-inch bass drivers. There's one in the front, one in the back. To get this efficiency level all the way down through the bass, there's no substitute for area. You have to have the right amount of drive unit area, motor strength, and weight, and a critical interrelationship between those three parameters to tune it optimally in this cabinet. And so they're all custom developed. The bass drivers are not Field Coil. That was going to get too much. 2 bass drivers with Field Coils and the mid-range with Field Coil. Because it crosses over so low, I felt that the right kind of design of neodymium magnet, underhung, short coil, long gap, with dual opposing magnets, I get superb linearity from that and low distortion. So that was my choice for the bass for this model. Who knows what I'll do in the future. This is the first one. Got lots of ideas bubbling for both speakers above this and below this, but you got to start somewhere. Not just start, you got to finish somewhere and get into production. So that's it, the Trobadour. And in the system we have here, we've got analog sourced from the Thorens TD 124 direct drive with the EMT cartridge. And I chose that because that's also a vintage design brought into the new world. In fact, the first turntable I ever owned was a Thorens TD 160. And this was even, the original TD 124 came out even before that. So it fascinated me, the idea of this Thorens brought up to date, just like I'm doing with the speakers. And then for amplification, we have Lab 12, power amplifier and preamplifier. And then I'm using the Hi-Fi Rose as my streamer for digital sources. And these boxes down here are the power supplies for the Field Coil, 1 for each speaker. So you can put them underneath the speaker if you want to tuck them away, or you can put them in the rack. And you've got 3 ways of turning the power on for the Field Coils. The switch on the front of the amplifier, there's a switch on the back of the speaker, so if those are tucked away, you just lean over and flick it on, or it will power up automatically when you start playing music. There's just a very small delay as the music starts, but if you want, turn it on in advance and have it all ready to go. It will turn off automatically after 30 minutes, right? That is a safety requirement. You don't want, it draws 50 watts. You don't want that left on all the time. And that's the system.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrew.